Hello, my name is Anomaly from Sweden, and I am here to talk about cars. A car is a wheeled, self-powered motor vehicle used for transportation and a product of the automotive industry. Most definitions of the term specify that cars are designed to run primarily on roads, to have seating for 1 to 8 people, to typically have 4 wheels with tires, and to be constructed principally for the transport of people rather than goods. Over the first 127 years of the automobile, liquid hydrocarbons largely won the battle to serve as transportation fuels because they were best suited to the task. Evolution is all about the ability to adapt to surroundings. By 1886, gasoline was preferred by the masses because it was the most efficient. What we know as gasoline is actually a blend of organic compounds including heptane and octane, plus additives to provide desirable traits like improved cold start capability and knock resistance. For more than 50 years, tetraethyl lead was added to give gasoline more resistance to self-ignition. Octane inherently has this characteristic, but because it comes out later in the crude oil distillation process, it's more expensive. Adding lead to the blend allowed the use of more heptane while staying knock-free. Of course, lead has its own problems, including potential brain damage when ingested. The catalytic converter ultimately killed lead in gasoline. There's a rich design history between the strictly utilitarian designs of the early 20th century and the double-take-inducing designs of modern day, and like many forms of progress, it has come in fits and starts. We're taking a decade-by-decade look back at the history of automobile styling and design to pick out the details that defined each era. The Model T sold 15 million units between its debut in 1908 and its discontinuation in 1927 and set the template for car design going forward. The first iterations of the Model T used the same type of body style like earlier automobiles, bereft of doors, windshield, or windows, and much more like carts that we pulled by horses than modern automobiles to come. Over the first quarter of the 1910s and into the 20s, the rounded and flat chassis and cube wheelbase of the Model T and its competitors would become much longer, and closed body designs would gain popularity compared to the open-air cart style. A huge engineering innovation known as the monocoque or single-hull chassis made cars lighter, easier to produce, and more structurally sound. It impacted aesthetics as well, as previously distinct features like fenders, headlights, and runner boards all started to be integrated into the body, and two-tone exterior color schemes fell out of favor. The 1960s saw a shift from the boat-like designs that captured the imaginations of the big three automakers GM, Ford, and Chrysler, as European, and particularly Japanese, imports began to flood into the United States. The smaller, less cumbersome design ethic of cars from companies like Toyota, Nissan, and a range of European companies filled a sizable gap in the US market. Though not all 90s cars have aged well, there was a definite reaction to the humdrum concepts of the previous decade. Fluid curves and contours had a renaissance, especially with higher-end sports cars like the Porsche 911 or even the more modest Mazda Miata. The aughts saw an explosion of car design in all shapes, forms, and styles, making it difficult to tack down a common thread in their look. The variety in form has not translated to a variety in hues. White, silver, black, and gray are the most popular exterior colors of the day. It is impossible to imagine modern vehicles without the use of quiet, durable pneumatic tires protecting the wheels. The earliest wheeled vehicles, however, developed over 5,000 years ago, used wooden wheels to assist in the movement of goods and people in carts and chariots. The wheel was simply a circular piece of wood with a hole in the middle for the axle, also made of wood. Unbelievably, it was not until the 19th century that this state of affairs changed. There seem to have been two main influences that evolved into the modern pneumatic tires now used on cars, lorries, bicycles, and motorbikes, available online from companies such as Ava Tire. A Scot, Robert Thomson, was a keen inventor. Encouraged by his father, he set him up with a workshop in London. Among other inventions, Thomson experimented with aerial wheels, which he patented in 1845, before bicycles had been developed. Thomson's aerial wheels were designed for horse-drawn carts and carriages, and he arranged for an experiment in Regent's Park attended by many journalists. He fitted his new tires to a carriage, which proceeded to be pulled through the park side by side with a carriage with conventional wheels. There was considerable skepticism amongst the journalists, who thought the soft tires would not move as easily, but the result was clear. The aerial tires were quiet, fast and far more efficient than those on the other carriage. Unfortunately, because of the high price of rubber at that time, the new tires did not take off and Thomson didn't make his fortune from his invention. Amazing though it may seem now, when we have a vast range of car tires available to